Quick timeout. Guys, before you check out today's video, if you haven't already, there is a link in the description for the full reaction to the highlights that we are going to be breaking down. But look, it's going to be an exciting one. Alright guys, it's time to get into that detailed analysis. Whenever I'm looking at these videos and I'm taking mental notes of what things I see, I'm always trying to think about not the flashy things, but the effective things. Building your IQ, which is really what I'm trying to do when I'm watching and breaking these videos down. I'm thinking about what's a small thing that they're doing that I can immediately implement into my game. And all three of the things that I've picked up that I'm going to talk about today are things that anyone can do. They're not really things that require some special talent or skill or really much for you to be able to do to develop them in your game. So look, first thing I want to talk about is his footwork. When he was going for his dribbling maneuvers, he was actively using these really long, wide stanced legs, and I really liked it. If you look, you can actually see a clip where he's in the triple threat position and then basically brings his leg back. He's now in a hyper athletic stance still, able to generate energy, still on balance, but he's gained that distance from where his foot was to where it is now. He obviously has worked within that point that he's not overextending to the point where you're not athletic. There is a balance that you have to be able to achieve. And that type of footwork, that crafty little thing that you can do is going to not only keep you on balance, but it's going to allow you to gain space. I want to gain as much space from the defender as I possibly can. He's now got an extra space really without doing anything. A really good detail. I absolutely love that part. The next thing I'm going to talk about is collecting the ball. One of the point guards on my team mentioned something earlier in the season, and it's actually to this point of collecting the ball. And the idea was that you don't want to give the ball to a big where they're outside of their comfort zone because, well, really, it's not a position that you want to put them in. Bradley's taken this moment where he's giving the ball up, maybe because he's picked up the ball and he's now in a dead ball position, and then going and collecting it. The reason why I like this is because a lot of players don't actually pay attention to this detail. They don't actually implement it. Guys who play really aggressively off of the catch and shoot, like a perfect example of that is Steph Curry. He does a fantastic job of this. The whole principle behind this idea is that I don't want to give the ball up to a player that's outside of their comfort zone. Let me expand on this for a moment. If my big is out at the very top end of the key, right? The very, very top, near the three, they're generally not going to be the type of player to generate a risk out of that. Meaning they're not going to be a threat to the defense out of that. Unless you're talking about, you know, Nikola Jokic, who I did a recent video on. If you didn't see that, go ahead and check it out. I don't want to leave him in that vulnerable spot. So I want to give it up. I want to create an opportunity to get a quick, easy bucket by making a backdoor dart. If the defense picks that up, I can actually recircle back and go in and collect the ball. And the big man is basically using that as like a DHO or a dribble handoff. And so that then allows me to use it as a screen and create another opportunity out of that. I really don't need to do this with maybe another guard, but if I have a big up there, I could probably use them as a screening option. That really just creates another opportunity for me and my teammate to be effective. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is aggressiveness when going to the bucket. When you look at Bradley's game, and I mentioned this earlier in the reaction, his game is tremendously simple and I love it. It's the same as guys like Jimmy Butler's game. Game's tremendously simple, not overcomplicated. He's looking at trying to score in the ways that make him most comfortable. But one of the things that I like about Bradley's game is that when he is driving to the bucket, he's going full force with the intention of scoring. He's actually preparing for that contact and trying to bump out of them. One of the things that I do like to see is that when you are jumping up and you're going to finish around the bucket, especially if you can dunk, you should be going with the intention to dunk every single time because you want to make the defender have to meet or match your energy. If I go up, my energy is going forward and upwards, right? In this diagonal motion. If the defender jumps up because they're jumping up straight and they're trying to meet me, my energy is going to push them forward. And that's how you can see guys get these really aggressive contact dunks because they have all this movement forward that you just can't stay in front of them. You can't stay on top of them. You're just going to move out of the way. Obviously, you have to be aware of, you know, charge calls. You don't want to be going through them. Don't be afraid of contact. Once you make that contact, the defense then has to react to it. And defenders are generally in a very vulnerable position when you're going and driving to the bucket in that 1-for-1 sort of meeting at the cup moment, because if they bump you outside of their cylinder, foul straight away. If they put their arms forward, foul. Even if they make contact with the ball, but there's this extra bodily contact, foul straight away. Obviously depends on the officiating and how the officiating is going in the game, but little detail, go to the bucket and just be aggressive. Do it with purpose. In fact, do everything with purpose. When the news came out about Bradley Beal going from the Washington Wizards to the Phoenix Suns, I have to say, I thought it was a dumb trade. And I still kind of think it's a dumb trade. The beauty of the Phoenix Suns previously with Chris Paul was having someone distribute and create scoring opportunities for others. When I look at that team, I don't necessarily see anyone that's hyper strong as a primary one guard. And if you have a really good one guard or a point guard, it really does make a massive difference. Think about Devin Booker, think about Bradley Beal, think about Kevin Durant. What do they want to do? They want to shoot. The issue I have with some of these teams when they're making trades is there's really no purpose to what they're trying to do, and they're just trying to get the best player. And yes, having the best player is great, but having the best player to create and gel within your unit is so powerful. It's the reason why I think maybe the Warriors got the better of the trade, because they can take some of the ball handling pressure off of Steph Curry and having to bring the ball up and generate off. Jordan Poole didn't necessarily fit that bill in being a facilitator, but Chris Paul definitely does. And so that allows others to be active players and be scoring threats that they want. And if they need to switch things up, they can absolutely do it. I'd love to know what you guys think of that and whether or not you disagree with me. If you do, cool. Jump in the comments, let me know. If you agree with me, well, you're the smart one. Let me know as well. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm currently pushing to hit my milestone of 10K subs. And if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, well, please do it. It'd be really cool if you did. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. All right? And you can join this house of hoopers, by hoopers, for hoopers. I do a whole bunch of basketball content. This is where you need to be. If you're watching this type of video, this is where you need to be. But look, until I see you next time, make sure you're looking after yourself, you take care, and be safe. All right? Peace.